Hey everyone! Welcome back! I am back today with more of my Steel Ball Run reviews, you guys. Oh, these chapters were so good. I do want to quickly point out that although I had chapters 41 through 45 on the schedule, you'll probably notice it actually says 41 through 44 today. I apologize for that. It's been one of those weeks and I just couldn't make the timing work. I'm sorry. I know it's like one chapter, but it's still a lot with like the note taking and the screenshots and everything, and I just couldn't get it done in time to film. And I think you'll see that the stopping point that we stop on is actually really good. So it worked out. And also there's a half chapter in here. And when I tell you we're going to want to focus on this half chapter a little bit, just believe me when I tell you. So technically we do have 5 chapters, technically. So apologies for that. I will try to get 45 through 50 done for next time, so we're still on that nice little even like 5 kind of, you know. It would kind of like make me cringe a little bit to like get off track and like be like doing like 44 through 49 and like, you know, if we don't have to. So I will try to remedy that for next time. But for today, we're going to be doing 41 through 44, including 42.5. So yeah, guys, we have a lot to cover today. There is a lot to get into. Before I do all that, I do just want to say if you're joining me early today, you know just what that means. It means you are one of my awesome patrons. Thank you so very much. And as always, I am sending you up those big old hugs right through that screen. And if not, still thank you for joining me today. I'm glad you're here. I do hope you'll consider supporting me that way. The link to my Patreon is going to be in that description down below. If you're joining me on those YouTubes, I really hope you'll hit like, also subscribe for me. It does help me and my channel a whole lot, so thank you in advance for that. Yeah, guys, so, gosh. We covered a lot last time. We covered, I think, some of like, yeah, that was last time, right? Where we had the whole thing where like Lucy's hiding and everything. My God, Lucy is such an MVP. Like, a couple of quick things about Lucy and a couple quick things about last time in general. First off, I just want to say, I am rooting so hard for this girl. Like, I love her. I am so attached to her and I just want to see her like be okay. You guys did have like some insight for me in the comments about the whole like I was getting a little creeped out about her being 14 thing, and you guys were very helpful with saying like, you know, this way it's not something we would do today. Obviously we know better, but you know, this was at the time not something as out of the ordinary for someone to be married that young, possibly to somebody much older. I mean, I know like in my own family there's like if you go back that far, there's like not with somebody that young, but there's like age gap relationships. So you know, it was something that was done. You know, life expectancy was shorter. It's just one of those things that like we see as not good now, but it is a historical fact. So and I really appreciate the story that he's trying to tell with Lucy and everything. I do think to a great degree that her being so young does just really make you feel her vulnerability even more. Like, she's so young, she doesn't have a stand. Again, kind of the Hayato effect, you know, like it's closest thing we have to like an avatar of one of us, like just kind of like a normal person in this world, only she's super young, which makes it even scarier. So love her, rooting for her. You guys kind of helped me like, I won't say like get past it. I'm not like, oh, I'm totally cool with it now, but like, you know, okay, like I do get it, like for the purpose of the story, like I understand, and it's not like, oh, I can't enjoy this, just something that, you know, at the time I was like, huh. And then some of you were pointing out too, like Mountain Tim may not have even meant that like romantically. He may have just been like trying to look out for her and protect her. I kind of took it that way because you know, he was saying like you belong to another man and everything. So I'm like, oh, I guess it's like, so I'm not really sure if it was like that or not. In any event, he wanted to help her. He helped her. And it was really too bad to have him taken out so quickly. But yeah, we just got a ton last time. We got Blackmore, who had a really cool stand. I feel like he's just going all out with like these like side stands right now. Like some of them are getting backstories, they're getting like OP powers, or like It's pretty cool. You could tell he's like reveling in the extra time, kind of like the extra leeway of like, you know, and I'll get more into this too, of like being able to kind of like reset things and start from scratch. So yeah, and then we had Diego, and he, at least it's a little bit more layered this time. Like, I was rooting for him kind of right up to that point where he decided to work with Valentine and everything. I understand how we got there, and there'll be a little more on Diego in this one, so stay tuned for that. Just enough for me to be like, ooh, okay. But yeah, so now he's like, and of course we saw the last thing we left off on was he is getting a new partner, and me, in my assumptions, which you know what they say about people who assume, but yeah, I assumed that was supposed to be Norsuke. Because Dio's like, I was just drinking water with you over there, and like the only two people we saw at the watering place were Hot Pants, and we know it's not her, and Norsuke. And I'm like, okay, well, it's got to be Norsuke. And you guys are like, nope, it's not Norsuke. It is someone you know, but it's not Norsuke. And of course, after that, I got thinking, and we will find out who it is in these chapters, so put a pin in that. I think that's all I wanted to say about last time. I want to jump right in because we are starting off so strong. Chapter 41, you guys. I am going to get a little bit of musical visual accompaniment for this part. It's not something I ordinarily do. I will explain why in a minute. So we start off, they're in the 5th stage now. There's a few people around them, like Sandman and Poco Loco, you know, just kind of like the usual people who have been like keeping up with them this whole time. Someone else they can't make out, like they see someone, and we know it's like the shadowy figure from last time. I would like to bless you with the knowledge. You probably already have the knowledge, but I want to bless you again with the knowledge of Gyro's Cheese song, you guys. I'm told this is an epic, beloved hit in the community. I can see why. Gyro just starts, he's like, hey, I made up this song. Do you want to hear it? I mean, you know how Gyro is. Like, he was doing the tricks last time and everything, the little, like, magic tricks. And he was like, oh, Mr. Horsey. And just, he can, like, go from, like, really unbelievably grouchy for, like, no reason, like he was to Lucy, to, like, super smart, where he's, like, doing complicated math equations and, like, doing all kinds of amazing stuff, to, like, total boss, to just, like, complete goof. Complete and utter goof for no reason. And guys, just let this wash over you, okay? He's like, hey, I made this song. And it's Gyro's Cheese song. And it is everything it sounds like. It is him singing pizza mozzarella over and over. But it's not just that. You can come in and you can bring in different cheeses. Like, you know, guys, I think he really has a hit on his hands here. I mean, I can't even reproduce it. I can't even, like, walk you through, like, this is how it happens, because it's just that good. I'm just going to put the screenshots up. I'm going to tell you a little bit, and then we are going to check out. Oh, yes. There is an actual pizza mozzarella song that has been animated and sung, recorded by fans, because Jojo fans are the best fans in the world, and we are going to watch it. I'm like, I would be doing you a disservice if I did not bring this into the review. I know this is not official, but I feel it is so important to this fandom in this way that we need to see it, we need to watch it. But first, I'll just tell you, Johnny's reaction is so amazing to this song. Because, like, you know, you never know how someone's going to react to, like, goofiness. So far in the past, like, Johnny's been so utterly impressed by, like, everything Gyro's done. And, like, I would say Johnny's, like, a goofy guy. Maybe even less so than Gyro. But his reaction was so good. He's like, this is a masterpiece. And he's like, do you want to form a band? He was just, like, so impressed by it. He can be so, like, every once in a while, Johnny's just, like, a silly boy. And oh my God, I almost forgot we're gonna get Johnny's backstory in these chapters. And let me tell you, if you didn't love Johnny already, like I love Johnny now. Like I was saying last time, like he's cool. He like the way that he dealt with Lucy, I was like, you know, he seems cool. Oh my God, he's in my heart forever now. I love him. I want to adopt him, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So first off, before we do anything, because this is just so very important, I feel that we must watch the fan-animated Pizza Mozzarella song, the cheese song, everyone. Usually, okay, so this is usually stuff I'm doing, like, usually don't have to watch me, like, putting the earbuds in and everything. I just, like, cut right to when I'm reacting. I just, like, cut right to everything happening. Sorry. This is by, the channel I got this from is, okay, I'll put it on the screen, and, or I'll put, I don't know if it's the person who made it, but they'll have, like, credits for the person who made it. Did I turn the screen capture on? See why I usually cut this part out? Because it's, like, just me checking. Okay. Are you ready for the cheese song? Let's go. This, you're gonna love this.
Ah, Johnny. Hang
on, we don't need the captions. This is fan animated, by the way.
ずいぶん君暇そうじゃないか。
ピザモッツァレラ、ピザモッツァレラ、ピザモッツァレラ、ピザモッツァレラ、ピザモッツァレラ、ピザモッツァレラ、ピザ。Okay. That is one version. That is one version. There is another version. Let me find it because I think the other version is my favorite. That's the one we just watched. Where is the one I'm thinking of? Shoot. Hang on. I will find it. Okay. Sorry. So that one was really, really good. It's a fan animated. And I'm very, very impressed by it. This is a slightly different one, and I think it has, like, the actual, it's actually being sung to the music. We all need to hear this. Let's go. Oh, this one doesn't have, now this one needs the...
ずいぶん君暇そうじゃないか。ピザモッツァレラ、ピザモッツァレラ、レラレラレラレラレラ。
This is my anthem. I want this sung at my funeral. Okay, so here's all the credits. Thank you so much to everyone who did this. And the other one was really good too. I really love the animation on the other one. It's just, I think the song on this one just really, yeah. Sorry, that was, I know we usually don't like, we don't do like mixed media here on the Steel Ball Run reviews where like we have, but I'm sorry, I think that warranted it, absolutely. I'll put links and everything so that you can watch both videos. Johnny was so impressed. Johnny's reaction was just so perfect for this because of course your reaction will be like you've just heard like the best thing in your life. Okay, so all right, enough about the cheese song. Although we can never really say enough about the cheese song. I like it was just made for me, guys. So you know how I am with pizza? Like as if I couldn't love Gyro anymore. Now he's singing about pizza. You know? Like moving on. Okay, so so now they're gonna form a band, you guys, just so you know. Okay, so Gyro shows Johnny a letter he got after sending a coded message to his home country in the Vatican about the corpse. I think they mentioned last time, like, he was gonna have to get in touch with the Vatican about this whole thing. So he's like, it's super brief. It just says, like, no record of such saints, that is all. And Johnny's like, well, maybe it isn't a saint. And Gyro's like, no, it's got to be a saint. It's definitely a saint. And Gyro's like, don't you think it's kind of weird that they didn't ask any follow-up questions? Like, they didn't want to know, like, where I got it or anything like that. Like, they just shut it down. And Johnny's like, well, they either don't really care or maybe they already have an idea of who it is and they just don't want to put any info in the letter because it could be dangerous. Which is probably closer to the truth. It's also possible they know and, like, I don't know, just don't want him to know. I don't know. So Johnny asks Gyro if he has any idea who it could be, and Gyro just starts getting really stressed and mad. So I'm like, I'm wondering if, like, Gyro's starting to put it together a little bit, and he just doesn't want to say anything. I don't know. I really honestly don't know, but he did not like that Johnny asked about it. So, next thing we see is, like, Johnny gets, like, burned a little bit when he touches the handle on their coffee pot. And he notices, like, a towel on the ground. So I'm like, okay, that's what the way they did it was weird. Like, something's happening, you know? So they hear something coming their way, and they're trying to figure it out. And they're looking around in this barn nearby. And Gyro goes to climb a ladder that's, like, up against the barn. And Johnny's holding this axe that he had used to, like, smash his way into the barn. And that's when he's like, oh, my God, they shouldn't be touching anything. So he's like, get away from the ladder, get away from everything. He's like, don't touch the barn either. Now they're hearing this, whatever it is, get closer. And the barn just, like, starts to fall. It just, like, starts falling apart. It's like, it's not imploding exactly, but, like, it's crumbling. So they see one of the racers. We haven't really talked much about him. He's always kind of, like, there on the list, but, like, we haven't really seen too much from him. Dot Han. They see him coming. And he's coming towards them, and they're like, oh my God, this is the guy. This is, like, the next stand user we have to fight. And they tell him to stay away, but he's, like, still coming towards them. So they attack, but the steel ball, like, blows up. Like, actually blows up, and the nails don't even, I don't even think they land on him. And he's like, help me, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't think this is the guy. So Johnny gets trapped under some of the crumbling barn parts and senses that there's maybe another stand at work here. Maybe Dio, like maybe this person, we know that the person's working with Dio, but Johnny's putting it together. And so Johnny, no, I had that wrong. Gyro tells Johnny to dig a hole in the ground with his nails, but he's like, I can't. And Gyro's like trying to reach to like get him out from underneath this debris. And Johnny's just like, just go, like, just leave me. And I'm just like, oh my God. And Gyro sees these little creatures. They're like little dinosaurs, but they have kind of like saucer-shaped flat heads that have like words on them. And so and now he's thinking, okay, Dio's team was somebody. Now remember, last time, like in the last chapter, we saw that there was like, remember the word stab was written on. And it's funny, the first thing I thought when I saw that was like, oh, that's kind of like Echoes. But like, I didn't really know how it worked. So I'm like, well, we don't really, so just put a pin in that, okay? That I was smart and I thought that. I know I didn't say it. I should have said it, but put a pin in that. So where am I? Yeah, so he's like, they're putting it together, like Dio's teamed up with somebody. So he tells Johnny, like, we're gonna get out of here. And he used a ball, one of the steel balls, to start digging in the ground near Johnny to help Johnny out. And he says, even though the balls are blown up, they keep rotating. Put a pin in that. And he says, you know, Johnny, this isn't like you to give up. And I'm like, oh, that's sweet. And also, like, let's all get out of here, okay? So Johnny's like, says that he wants more than anything to get to Lake Michigan, but he's really not sure if he can beat anyone with just his current ability. So, Finn! So that was a short chapter. That one was just kind of like setting us up for everything to come. And trust me, there is a lot to come. Really wish we could have kept that short because there's so much coming that like I want to spend more time on. But we had to do the cheese song. And now you've heard 1.5 versions. Because that first version was like, I love the animation on it. It looks, I mean, that looks like you're just watching the show. They did such a good job on that. But the song for the other one, they're like, pizza mozzarella, pizza mozzarella, and Johnny's even like, it's the Rella part. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so right. You are so right. It really is the Rella. Okay, so we had an iconic song show up in that one. We had the setup for our next user, and we had the setup for the story because this whole next part is going to focus on Johnny and kind of like what he expects of himself or thinks of himself or all of those things. So there wasn't a whole lot to this one. There's probably not a big reason to spend a lot of time on it since we already, did a lot of time with the whole cheese song. But yeah, so basically, oh, okay. So I will tell you this, at this point in time, I'm like trying to figure out who it could be. And the only other ones we saw in the field around, because we saw like the person we're after, and then we saw a couple of other racers around us. One was Dahan, and it kind of seemed in this one like he was being controlled. The other was Poco Loco, and we've seen his stand, and we know that's not his stand. And the other was Sandman. And I was like, well, we haven't really seen, we don't even know that Sandman has a stand. And, it was weird because we saw like the shadowy figure. And I'm like, I thought that was the person. I wasn't sure if that was like the stand or the person. So I'm like, okay, well, it's not Sandman because he was right there too. So it's like somebody else. So, yeah. Moving on. That's what I thought when I was reading this. So, chapter 42. So as Gyro's trying to save Johnny, Johnny starts flashing back. And guys, it is time for Johnny's backstory. I need you to just like strap in right now. Jonathan had a really, really crummy life at times. I'm not going to lie, but like, oh, man, this was pretty bad, you guys. This was pretty bad. And you're going to be surprised at like who doesn't have something to do with it. So, all right. So we flash back. We're telling about Johnny Joestar. He actually is named Jonathan, which I didn't really know to this point. Everyone was like, yeah, this is supposed to be like other universe Jonathan. And I'm like, okay, cool. But like Johnny or John doesn't necessarily have to be like short for Jonathan. It usually is, but like doesn't have to be. So no, he is Jonathan Joestar. Like that's, yeah. But this time he was born in Kentucky, and the Joestars were still really rich in this universe, but they fell into ruin. Johnny's father was still wealthy. I don't know if did they say his father's name was George or not? I can't remember. I guess we'll just assume this is George as well. But the dad is still wealthy, and he was like also a champion horse racer. So they ended up living in England for a while because of the dad. So they still found their way to England one way or another, even though they were all from like Kentucky, apparently. So the family's eating dinner, and the first thing I noticed was like in this dinner scene, the mom's still alive. First of all, like the mom, because we didn't have Dario. Yeah, we didn't have Dario like trying to pick over the carriage, and I mean, we didn't have any of that because none of them, it's not a mirror universe. Like, it's not the same. I say this all the time. It's totally different. But, like, the mom is still alive. And I don't think that's why everything's different, because, like, we didn't have the carriage scene and everything, because, like, everything was way different even before that. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, okay. So the mom's alive, and there's, like, another kid? There's another kid. So I'm like, I've been saying for ages on the show, and the series, have more than one kid, because you are risking the legacy by not. I mean, technically Joseph did, just not how we thought. But anyway, yeah. So there's two kids in this. Where am I? So yeah. So they're having dinner, and guess what? Even in this universe, Johnny's still getting yelled at the dinner table about manners. Although I will tell you, I was so grateful for our, like, original universe George after this. This dad sucks. You're gonna see why, okay? So Johnny's getting yelled at about, like, table manners and everything. So, yeah, some things never change, I guess. So the dad tells him, like, show me what's in your hand. Like, what is that? And it's a cute little mousey. And Johnny's like apologizing, and the dad's like, who told you to apologize? And I'm like, God, this guy sucks. So the dad's like, dinner's over, go to your room, and you have to drown the mouse in the lake. And I'm like, all right, definitely not our George. Not our George. Not at all our George. Like, our George he was strict, I felt at times he wasn't the most fair, you know. I'm a little bit of a pushover, and I felt bad for Jonathan a couple of times during the whole Jonathan and Dio thing throughout Fan of Blood. But good God, this man, this just not a good person. Okay, and definitely not a good father. So apparently the dad had said at one time he could keep the mouse, but Dad's like, no, I said you could keep him in a cage, and now you have to dispose of it and like all this stuff. So Johnny's a mess. He runs out. I mean, he's a little boy at this time. I don't know exactly how old he's supposed to be, but I'm guessing maybe 7, 8, or 9. He's little. So Johnny runs out, and the brother runs after him, the other kid. So it turns out the brother's name is Nicholas, and he asks Johnny, like, what are you gonna do? And we find out that Johnny had named the mouse Danny! Ah! He named the mouse Danny! So I'm thinking, oh, this mouse is done. Done for, right? Keep watching. So Nicholas is like, well, maybe we could just like let him go in the woods. And Johnny's like, no, Dad's definitely going to want to see his corpse. And I'm just like, what is it with this? What is it with the story and corpses? So Nicholas is like, well, that's okay. I'll go get a white mouse from the lab at school. And Nicholas is so just kind of like cute and just seems like a very sweet kid. And he's like, Dad wouldn't make you cut it open to check, but wouldn't it be funny if he did and all the stuffing came out? And I'm just like, oh. It's around this time I started to get a little worried for Nicholas. Because he's an awful good kid. This is an awful bad world. So yeah. Johnny's like, you're so smart, and they'll definitely give you the mouse since you're such a good student and everything. So I'm like, okay. So he's like, sweet kid, good student. He's just like all around like model kid. Starting to get them death flags. So, Nicholas is like, you know, do you really think you can let Danny go? And Johnny hesitates, but he's like, yeah, I guess. So we cut to, I think it's supposed to be a little bit later, and it's definitely a little bit later. I don't know how much, but Johnny is watching Nicholas practice horse racing, and apparently he's like super talented. Like he's like a prodigy. He can run in the exact time you tell him to, not a fraction of a second more. And guess who's there working in the horse area? It's Diego. Now you might be thinking, we've got Dio and we've got Danny. What the heck is going to happen? Well, keep watching because you might be surprised. So Nicholas is riding this like big horse, supposed to be kind of unruly, and he's handling it so well. And Johnny's thinking what Nicholas told him, that like no matter what their dad says, Nicholas wants to teach him to ride when he's older so that they can ride together and get each other through hard times. And I'm just like, oh, this kid is done. Oh, this isn't good. But I will say, I'll stop here, not stop, but I'll just pause here just to say, you can see why, like, he gets along so well with Gyro, because, like, I mean, I don't know how I know some people ship them, I know some people maybe just see them as friends, or maybe as brothers. Like, I go by what they tell me, and I think they're just, like, good friends, at least at this stage, but I can see how Johnny maybe even almost sees, like, because I think Gyro's supposed to be older than him. Gyro's like 25 and Johnny's like 19. So it's almost like the same. I think they say that like he's like 5 years, Nicholas is like 5 years older than Johnny. And you can kind of see like, oh my God, he must fall into that dynamic like so easily, you know, just like, ah. And they are literally riding together and getting through hard times together. So, cut back to current, right after this sweet scene. Guess what we see next? Huge crack. And the horse running away by itself. What do you think happened? Because I can guarantee, whatever you're thinking, well, you already know, most of you. I could not have fathomed what happened next. Guess why the horse did that? It was startled by a white mouse. Are you kidding me? Are you fudging kidding me? So we fast forward a little while. I mean, it's just like the irony that like the mouse that he was supposed to, and then it, the irony, okay? So we fast forward a few years, I don't know exactly how long, and I think he's in his teens now. Johnny's now a star jockey, and he notices his boots are starting to come apart a little bit. So we see him go into his brother's old room to get a pair of his boots, and his dad catches him doing this. And he's like, you have to put those back, they're not yours. You know, if your boots are torn apart, that's your fault. Like, you didn't take care of them when you're supposed to, blah, blah, blah. You know, being parent of the year over here. So Johnny's like, you know, I promise I'll win for you and all this stuff. And it's just like just trying so hard to like just connect it all with the dad. And the dad is like, even if you won, Dio's not competing today. So it wouldn't really count because you can't beat Dio. You've never beaten him. And Nicholas could have beaten him. And I'm just like, he's just trying so hard. So let me just say this. Obviously, the pain of losing a child is absolutely unbelievable, okay? Super sad. I'm very sorry about that. This guy he was a jerk before all that. Like, let's make no mistake. I feel awful for him that he lost his son. But, like, he's always treated Johnny badly. And now he's just treating him worse. Also, I think we can see now, like, if you go back and read where we ran into Dio the first time, and Johnny's like, you know, stay away from this guy. He's bad news. He didn't want anything to do with him. I'm like, oh my God, well, no wonder getting compared to Dio like your whole life. No wonder you wouldn't like him, like right off the bat. I maintain that he did not kill the elderly wife. I'm maintaining that. I think that Johnny just understandably holds some grudges against Dio. Anyway, but yeah, like, can you see now why he'd have something against Dio? I'm like, I would too. So the dad's like, you have no right to wear Nicholas's stuff. Johnny starts like struggling with him, and he's like, look, Nicholas died like 7 years ago. So, okay, so it's 7 years, so he must be like in his, yeah. This must be like not long before what happened to him. He's like, just come watch me race today. I'll make you proud. And he's mad. He's still like starting like wrestle, like struggle a little bit, but he's still like trying to just like connect with him. And so they're struggling, and Johnny's getting upset. He's like, they're just boots. I'm wearing them. And he pushes the dad, and the dad crashes into a mirror behind him and gets like glass stuck in his face. So the dad is laying there, and he says, God, you took the wrong son. And that is when, if you listen very closely at that time, somewhere in the world, you could hear the sound of my heart snapping and the sound of my brain starting to whir with plans to adopt Johnny. Because oh my God, poor Johnny. Yeah, I think that speaks for itself. I don't even have any more commentary for that. Like, yeah. So Johnny, like, can't believe it. He's like, what did you just say? And the dad kicks him out of the house. He's like, you're not welcome here anymore. Get out. And Johnny's like, you know what? That's fine. I don't need anyone. I'm not going to trust anyone. I'm going to do it all on my own. And so now we can see a little bit of the setup for like where that very first flashback that we got of Johnny, where he's kind of being a jerk, and he's just kind of like with the girls and being kind of a jerk and mouthing off to the kid who ends up shooting him and everything. You can see how he got like very hardened and just, Johnny. I want to adopt him. He's 19. Is it too old? I mean, we have 14-year-olds who are married, so probably. Could I adopt him? Could I? Would I? I would. I absolutely would. So we cut back to present, and while I think it's kind of present, Johnny's like thinking, he's like mind narrating. He's thinking about the white mouse, and he's thinking, like, you know what? God really did take the wrong son. Like, it should have been me. Danny came back. He was coming back for me. And he just feels like fate is going to catch up with him one day. He's felt this way that, like, you know, that what happened, like, he would have to pay for that one day, you know? All this happened because of the mouse, because of him. And, like, one day, fate's gonna come collecting for the right person, basically. And I'm heartbroken for Johnny. I'm heartbroken for him. I hate that those words, like, stuck with him so much, and he, like, internalized them to the point where he's like, yeah, you know what? This, like, his own guilt wasn't bad enough. I mean, shit, it was just like a freak thing. It was it's so unbelievably heartbreaking that we don't even know it was the same mouse, first of all. Although I don't know. Kind of a mouse expert here. I don't think that white mice, I don't know about England, but I know, like, in most parts, I think, of the United States, white mice aren't really found in the wild. Wild mice tend to be brown, so it's not looking good for it just being another mouse. Could be. Maybe Danny went and started it, still be kind of indirectly because they set him free. I was gonna say maybe it was like a descendant of Danny, but either way, But I hate that he internalized that, you know what I mean? And, like, that's just, like, that's how he feels about himself now, that, like, God took the wrong son. It's just so awful. It's just so awful. Okay, so he's thinking back, and he's like, this happens every time I've started to gain any kind of happiness. Like, fate catches up with me. You know, he got fame from the whole horse racing thing, and what happened? It went to his head. He ended up getting shot. And it's just, like, anytime he starts to, like, just kind of, yeah, sad. So, he's like, Gyro, you said this wasn't me. Like, this is me. Like, he said he feels just like he did whenever he thought about the white mouse. Like, this is kind of, like, where he lives in this state. So he's like, my stand doesn't stand a chance against this. Like, it's just not happening. So Johnny's hanging, at this point, Gyro went back for Johnny. He's trying to save him. So Johnny's, like, hanging on to Gyro's horse as they're trying to get away. So he fires at the dinosaur things, and he notices, like, they're throwing pieces. They're, like, throwing the pieces. So he figures out that Dio just, like, lent his dinos to another stand user, and that's the one that they're fighting. So it kind of confirms that. And then he figures out that the stand uses sound, and it travels like sound, and there's no effect until the sound reaches their bodies. So, like, it's not exactly like Echoes, but at this point, like, the whole, like, word thing and it working on sound, I'm like, oh my god, that's a Jojo reference to Echoes. It does, I think, work. It works pretty similarly, actually. I think there's some differences. Like, it's not exactly like Echoes, but it's pretty close. You'll see some differences. So at this rate, they're going to run into the Mississippi River, and it's going to be a dead end. So, like, this is really bad. And Gyro's like, look, we've got to ditch the horses to save them. Like, they know the way. We just have to jump off. So that's what they do. A bunch of the sound dino things descend upon Johnny and start using the sound effect burn. And we see fire, like, brewing up in his mouth, and his tongue starts smoking, and then his eyelids catch fire, and he's like, oh my god, this was the plan all along. They wanted us to do this. They were planning on trapping us. Oh my god. And Gyro's, like, getting annoyed with him. He's like, you know what? I only ever taught you the basics of the steel balls. Like, how dare you? Like, don't look down on hundreds of years of Zeppeli history. Please and thank you. So that's when he says, all right, pay your respects. You're about to learn lesson 4. Probably. Because, like, reading that, and I'm like, wait, was he numbering, like, the other lessons? And no, he's just making up as he goes along. So he's like, probably lesson 4. But yeah, pay your respects, everyone. We're about to get some new knowledge about the whole steel ball situation. All right, you guys. Finn to chapter 42. Chapter 42. Oh man, this Johnny's backstory, it's weird because, like, Jonathan's was so sad. And I'm definitely not taking anything away from how sad, you know, Jonathan's life was. Because it was. But there's almost something about Jonathan's. And I think it was just like Araki's writing style back then, and maybe just like the times and everything. You know, he's doing a different genre. He's doing shonen. It's almost very like over the top, like a play. You know, it's very sad. It's like a tragedy. That's why, like, when the Phantom Blood play came out, which by the way, Phantom Blood play was so good. Phantom Blood musical. Oh, please go check it out. Actually, I just found out River Dude is going to be doing, I think he is doing covers, like English covers of a lot of the Phantom Blood musical songs. So go look up River Dude on YouTube. I've watched a lot of River Dude stuff on my channel, so you know I love River Dude. If you want to check out, if you don't have access, or I don't even know how you would access it now, the Phantom Blood musical. I don't know where it's available, but you can get a little taste of it. Anyway, like, Jonathan's was just so, like, a tragedy, you know? But there's something about this that's so much more grounded. It hits different. I don't know how to explain it. Like, both were very sad. But this one just, I don't know. I think there's something about, like, I always thought it was too bad, like, George kind of, I know he was trying to help in a way, Jonathan. He was like, he didn't want to spoil him and everything. But it's just that, like, at the end of the day, he was strict and maybe he made some mistakes, but, like, he really did love his son. He wasn't going to do anything to hurt him. And, like, in this, it's just like Johnny was, like, abandoned before he was even, you know, like, there was just the connection between him and his father was so, for, like, no reason other than that, you know, you see this sometimes where, like, one parent favors one kid, and it's just, and it has nothing to do with the other kid. It's an extension of the parents' issues, you know. But Nicholas really was a sweetheart. He didn't deserve that. I just feel so bad. I feel like Nicholas was kind of like an anchor for Johnny in that house. By the way, I don't know what the mom was doing. Like, the mom was around this time. I would think things would be better with the mom, but I don't know. Like, we don't know. We literally didn't even get to meet her. So, like, I'm sure maybe she was just, like, checked out of life being married to Mr. Wonderful. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, she had, like, nothing to do with anything. So anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, I feel like Nicholas was like an anchor for Johnny, and like when he lost Nicholas, like you could tell the dad feels like he really lost like everything when he lost Nicholas, but I think in a way Johnny did too, because I think that was like such a big buffer for him, and I just feel awful for him. It's such a sad thing. I don't like to think about it because I just want Johnny to be happy. I think he's suffered a lot, and ironically, Dio had nothing to do with that. Dio, like, it was in the background. Like, the most Dio had to do with it was, like, the dad kept comparing. And I'm like, I get why Johnny would have kind of, like, a thing about that now because of that. But, like, at the same time, how messed up is it that, like, Dio had literally nothing to do with Johnny's unhappiness? Well, I mean, yeah, the comparison thing, but, like, directly, like, Diego couldn't control what the dad was saying. He probably didn't even know what the dad was saying, you know? I'm sorry, now I got it. Now I messed up my makeup. Poor Johnny. God, his backstory was brutal. I want to hug him. I want to scoop him up. I want to hug him. I want to hug his cute little stands. Oh, put a pin in that. And I'm glad he has Gyro. Because I think that makes total sense now that he would like fall very naturally into that kind of relationship again. It would feel very natural to him, you know what I mean? So that was a rough one, you guys. Yeah, just basically Johnny's mine now. He's in my heart. I don't know if I can legally adopt him, but I would like to at least, I don't know, like honorary adopt him. What do you like? We could be like found family, you know? I think Gyro's kind of like found family to him. And I mean, the thing is, like, I think Gyro had a better relationship with his dad than that, but we know like Gyro's dad wasn't super sweet either. So like I feel like they found something in each other that like they didn't know that they needed. I love it. I would talk about this all day, but we do have a couple more chapters in the next one, you guys. The next one is like it's not even like a chapter. It destroyed me. let's just get into it. Let's just get into it. Chapter 42.5, which is a little in-between chapter that's literally just telling us about stands. And I gotta tell you, the chapter itself, like, I'd say 98% of it we already knew. It's not reinventing the wheel. There are a cool little couple tidbits. I'm like, oh, that's cool. The art on this. I'm laying there in bed reading this. And I'm reading, oh, stands, this and that. And I think he had maybe like, I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I'll put the screenshots up. But like, it felt like maybe he was starting to put up some familiar stuff. I don't even know if he had it first. Like, you're just telling, like, this is a stand, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they manifest this way. So first things first, he starts out by saying, like, okay, something can't come from nothing, but science shows this isn't quite true because of subatomic particles, and this is how mass and gravity work. They work based on these principles. But it's not just in space, like, this happens all around us. So, like, yeah, say something can't come from nothing. So he's like, he relates this to how stands work. And that's when I'm scrolling the page, and I see Josuke and Crazy Diamond. And I think my soul left my body for a second. I just was not expecting. We're halfway through this series, guys. We're halfway through the series. And so far, like, the first couple of chapters, fans didn't even know if this was supposed to be Jojo's. Like, there was no connection. And sure, we've gotten Easter eggs throughout and everything, but, like, I've just gotten so used to the fact that, like, all right, this is what Araki does. Like, he moves on, and we don't linger around the past. We don't linger around the past. It's in the past. When I saw, did I cry a little bit when I saw Josuke and Crazy Diamond? Maybe. I freaked out, and I had to put down my iPad, and I was showing Mr. Hime, and I was like freaking out, and he was like, what is happening? And I honestly had to like put down my iPad and stop, because I just couldn't even believe it. I mean, it's not like they're in the story, but like, just that they would show up here. So it gets better, okay? It gets better. So he's giving examples of like how stands work. And again, none of this stuff is like really new to us. It's stuff if you, which I don't think there are any part skippers here. So, you know, if you were there for like the last 6 parts, you know all this pretty much already. But the visuals, he's showing everybody, you guys. He's showing like Jojo. He shows the Part 4 crew. He shows a bunch of the Crusaders. He shows like Giorno's up in there. Like and they're all in like Part 7 art style. I'm just like, I'm losing my god dang mind. So I just like that just blew my mind. Like, I never expected him ever to like really include anything from the original universe in this ever again. Even if it was just like kind of a breaking the fourth wall to the audience, like, this is how stands work, you know? I just thought we were done. And I gotta be honest with you, I'll pause right here to say, I will forever miss our original universe. There's part of me that's so sad that we never got more of it, that we never got like Josuke's kids, Giorno's kids, Jolene's kids, just anything. I love it. So you know how much I love it. Like, it's half my room is covered in it, so you know. But I more and more respect Araki's decision to reset the universe and start telling a new story. You know why? Because I feel like he has more love and passion for that original universe now, that he's not bound to it, that he can go and tell the story that he really wants to. I feel like has more love for it, or we get more mentions of it than we did in other parts from the original universe, you know? Like, there were times when he just let, you know, Part 5, I mean, aside from the little brief Jojo and Koichi, and I guess Polnareff too, I mean, it was like the rest of it never even happened, you know? And like, we kind of did that in the later parts. It was like, we weren't, he didn't want to get in the past. So I respect that he did that, because I do feel like now we can look back on that lovingly, while not, for him anyway, while not being bound to it as a writer, as an author. And I feel like we almost get like more mention of it now. Am I the only one who feels like we get more mention of it in part 7? Like, we got freaking Stroheim back, you guys. He was like actual Oh God. So basically, yeah, we get this huge group photo. It's amazing. It's a lot of it's just like we already know pretty much about stands and how they work. I'll put a couple of the screenshots up just because like it's cool, but like it's nothing, you know. He's not really introducing a lot of new info here. Right at the end, he's like talking about tools that are created to draw out stands. And he shows the arrow, but he also shows a stone mask. And I'm like, did the stone mask bring out... I'm pretty sure like all it did was make you a vampire, but like, is he trying to say the stone mask could like bring out a stand? Well, no, it couldn't, because we know that's not how Dio got the world and everything, but you know. I just thought it was cool. He's like showing all the like utensils of the past. So the last page... I love this, okay? And this is a great example of what I'm talking about. The last page, he says, like Hamon and Phantom Blood and the Steel Balls in Steel Ball Run, they're a step towards ultimately gaining a stand. Like, it's not going to give you a stand, but it's in the same... It's a cousin of the concept of the stand, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? It's something on the way there, or that at least is in the same family. So I love that he just, like... He's like talking about like it's all the same thing now, you know what I mean? Like, yes, he reset the universe, but like this is all JoJo's, and for the first time, like this is where it really felt like okay, like I felt like it. And yeah, so basically everything I said before, because you know what, like 42.5, you're not gonna show me all that and not have me just like out of that, like, you know, whatever it was, 6-7 pages that not even, I don't think that whole chapter was like, yeah, that just set me off in a big way. So you know I was gonna have to talk about it. So all right, so really cool refresher with some great art. Chapter 43. So Gyro tells Johnny, first things first, you can only say there's no way I can do this 4 times. Like, that's what my dad told me when I was learning. That's the rule, okay? We don't break the Zeppeli rules. So the secret of the steel balls is in this pursuit of infinity. So what they were trying to do when discovering the steel balls is they were trying to contain infinity for the purpose of medicine and execution, because that's their profession. And there's this shape called the golden rectangle that contains the perfect ratio, or the golden ratio. Like, well, we've heard of the golden ratio like before. That's like a thing. And it can be seen in all kinds of art, in all kinds of structures throughout the world. They show the Mona Lisa somewhere in Hell, in the other universe's Hell. Kira's, he's feeling something because they just showed the Mona Lisa. So Gyro's saying like his father trained him to be able to make this golden rectangle with his hands. And he says if you start making squares within this rectangle, you make more rectangles within the rectangle, and what ends up happening, like you can do this repeatedly, when you connect the shapes within this original golden rectangle, it creates an infinite spiral, which is known as the golden spin. And you just know the way that we're taught, this is going to be such a boss power, like you just know it. So he tells Johnny he has to spin his nail bullets in the golden ratio, and Johnny's like, I can't do that. Like, there's no way I can do it. And Gyro's like, all right, there's time number 1 that you set it. So the flame is spreading on Johnny, and Gyro tells him that if he says it 3 more times, he'll give him his belt buckle, which is designed in the golden ratio. It's like an actual rectangular, it's a rectangle. So Johnny's like, hang on. Oh yeah, all he has to do is spin his nails in the shape of the buckle, and he'll be able to do this golden spin. So Johnny's like, why not just tell me that first and like give me the buckle? Like, why are we doing this? So Gyro's like, we have to get out of here and get to the river. He tells Johnny to start shooting, and Johnny notices that nothing about his nails have changed. Like, this didn't enlighten him in any way yet. So Johnny's freaking out. He says it over and over. He's like, fine, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. And Gyro, he's like, Gyro, you were trained for this. I wasn't. This is no time to be playing games. And Gyro's like, okay, first of all, I'm only counting that as one time. You cheated. He doesn't say that, but that's pretty much what happens. So the creature, the little dino things are after them. And Gyro's like, okay, we have to find the stand user. It's the only way we're going to be able to get around this. So they figure out that he's absorbing sounds with his stand and using them. So they need to get somewhere without sound. But like where can you go that doesn't have sound? Like there's sound of the wind, sound of the grass, like there's sound everywhere. So they're in the water and Johnny's freaking out that he's like, oh my God, he set us up. This is what he wanted. Like he's begging Gyro for the belt buckle. And Gyro just punches him. Like we know Gyro will just hit Johnny without thinking twice. Poor Johnny. He's taking a little bit of damage now. And he's like, no, this is a Zeppeli rule and you have to follow it. Like there's no getting around this. So Johnny's freaking out. He's like, what are you talking about? And the dinos are coming towards them. Johnny attacks and he cuts down some of the blades of grass with the nails to reveal that Norsuke is in there. So Johnny's like, huh? And he's like, he says it again that he can't do it. So Gyro makes a sphere out of, because remember the steel balls got taken out, remember? So he makes a sphere out of water. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a Jojo reference. They're absolutely referencing Caesar in the bubbles here, right? Like this is it reminded me so much of, you know, he's always in my heart. He's always in my heart. Mwah! I got a charm of him right up here, so Gyro's right next to it. Okay, so he makes a sphere with the water. It's amazing. He's like, I could only do it for a split second, and there were a lot of sounds that he couldn't account for, so he takes some heavy damage, and he starts just like bleeding out. So Johnny sees Sandman standing over Norsuke, and he's like, he tells him, go get hot pants. He's thinking like they'll fix up Gyro. Sandman stabs Norsuke. It was Sandman. Sandman's, and I'm like, I was going through the people. I'm like, it's not Poco Loco we've seen in Sand. It's not Sandman because it couldn't be Sandman. I love Sandman. It couldn't be Sandman. He's so cool. Don't make it be Sandman. It was Sandman. So I guess the shadowy thing that we saw was like his stand. It's not because like they show his stand later. I don't know. I'm not sure how we saw like the shadowy figure and then later on there's like there is an actual stand that we see. But it was Sandman. So Sandman's the one who's been working with Diego and has been after them, and I'm just like, oh. So Sandman reveals he's been working for Valentine to get the corpse parts. He really needs money to buy his land back. We know that was his whole reason for being here. And he decided to go with the corpse parts over the race money to do that. And he's like, sorry, I didn't want to do this to you, but like I did what I had to do. Your country's all about money, which it is. And he's right there. That hasn't changed since the 1890s. And he's like, I have to save my tribe. So I mean, he had a good reason, but ouch, this one hurt, you guys, because I loved Sandman. I was so hoping he'd be like a bro. So he's like, you should have obeyed my In a Silent Way, which is the name of the stand, and it's such a boss name for stand. I don't know what it's a reference to, but somebody can fill me in. And you should just give me the corpse parts in the first place. So Johnny's freaking out. He's crying. He's holding like dying, bleeding out Gyro in his arms in the water. He asks why, he's like, Gyro, why couldn't you just give me the belt buckle? And he starts to say one more time that he can't do this. And that's when he realizes, how did the Zeppelis even do this in the first place? Like, there had to be an original golden rectangle to measure by, right? And that's when he realizes it's been around him the whole time. He sees this golden rectangle in the butterflies, in the leaves, in everything around him, and then he sees it around a little white mouse. Coincidence? I don't think so. I think this is a universe trying to tell him that fate's not out to get you. It's not. And just the the message that like this power was really something that he could have drawn upon all along. It was literally in the world around him. Even though he feels like his whole life, like things around him have kind of been like out to get him. Like fate's gonna catch up with him one day, right? No, this power has been his for the taking this whole time. And I love that message. I love it. So he notices the spinning is different. And his stand appears behind him. And at first I'm like, okay, I'm going crazy because like maybe Araki just like changed his art style a little bit or something. But like, I thought his stand looked kind of different. Put a pin in that. Finn to chapter 43. Oh, guys. It was rough knowing that this is Sandman doing this. You know, the like, and we just saw Sandman not that long ago, and he was such a real one. He was like, I'm gonna help you out. There's a storm. Here's the thing. Sandman, and this is what I like kind of in general about like just the writing style in general. This part is that like nobody's just like, yeah, you know, like everyone's kind of got their reason to be here. You know, who's to say that like saving your tribe isn't more important than, you know, trying to save a little boy or like any of the, like everyone's got their own reason for being here, you know? And it's like, no, it wasn't the right thing to go sign up with Valentine. That wasn't the right thing to do, but I'm just saying like, he's still him. He's still like kind of a real one in a lot of ways. Like he didn't want to hurt anybody. He's like, I wish you would have just surrendered and like, I didn't want to go this far, but like, I'm going to do what I have to do for my people. And I'm like, oh my God, but it's just, it's just so, it's such a hard pill to swallow that it was Sandman. So yeah, so I was super just like surprised, disappointed. But at the same time, like that's some really good writing because you know what, like it wasn't like the Sandman we knew just wasn't really the real one. You know what I mean? Like it's still him. It's been him all along. But yeah. So, also we get, let's see, okay, let me go back to 43 so I can tell you a little bit about what I thought about it. I love the whole, like, I'll admit, like, the first couple of lines, I was, like, kind of lost about the whole, like, golden spin, golden rectangle thing. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Like, there's this ratio, and when you spin in this ratio, you get, like, this infinite spin, this, like, golden spin, right? But I was, like, trying to sort of, like, I think a lot of these concepts are a little bit easier once you see them in motion, literally in this case. And man, just like, I love the idea that like the golden ratio, like the golden rectangle is something that you can like find anywhere, you know, you can make it around your hands. You can find it like on a butterfly, on like a leaf. It's like, it's kind of something that exists in nature almost, that we're drawing upon. And it in that regard, like, and the fact that it's golden and everything, like now I can really see even more similarities to Hamon, because we know with Hamon, like it was kind of like it was like magical sun energy, you know. It's like it was of the sun. It was of the sun, and it had a lot to do with just like again, like just sort of drawing upon nature and everything. That's and it was yellow, and this is golden, so you know, I see the similarities. But yeah, so it's really cool. We definitely got a lot more about that, and it was really fun. Gyro being a teacher is really fun. But yeah, he took some heavy damage in order to get this lesson across. But you know what? It wasn't lost on Johnny. He figured it out just as he was about to say it the fourth time. So that must be why he had to say it 4 times, because that was the amount of time it would take to stop and be like, wait, what really is the golden rectangle when we think about it? Like, how did they, like, they must have found it somewhere, right? Like, there had to be an original. Norisuke got stabbed in this one. I was like, oh my God, are we for real? Like, we knew him for 2 seconds. And yeah, I know he didn't do a lot, but I'm just like, that's, you know, we're just taking out everybody. Like, right now, Gyro is, he's down. Like, he's done. He's bleeding out. Even at this point, I refused to believe him. Like, there's no way we're going to take him out. Even if they were going to take him out at some point, there's no way it would be halfway through. It's like, it would be in the last act or something, which, no. Not going to happen, because I love him and they wouldn't do that to me. Johnny, I don't know, because technically if we're going by, like, Jonathan didn't make it out. But we don't, it's so different from that world already. Like, it's not like we have to follow, it's not like we have to be bound by that. But that would be, that would be real, if Johnny, like, that would be really bad. I mean, it was really bad when Jonathan died at the end of Phantom Blood, but like, So, yeah, the white mouse showing up. This white mouse just kind of representing everything that, like, has become, like, Johnny's, outlook on life, you know what I mean? And just it showing up with the gold, I love it. I love it. I love it. Peak. This is peak. You guys all said it would be peak. It is peak. It's just done so well. Yeah, I love it. Oh, and we had a little reference to Caesar's Bubbles. Yeah, so Sandman's bad guy. So sad. So, all right, guys. I think that's about most of what I wanted to say about that chapter. Chapter 44 is really good. We wrap up this fight, and we get into some other stuff. So let's just get into it, all right? Chapter 44. So Johnny can now use his finger like a drill, and he makes a hole in the water that can suck up all the sound, which I'm like, well, there you go. There you go. We were trying to find a place without sound. But now that it's like an upgraded power, he can only shoot one nail at a time. He can't fire them all off. And the power is different, but his nails can't grow back immediately either. He can literally just do like one at a time. So he fires off at Sandman, but Sandman deflects it. And that's when Johnny's like, oh my God, he's on another level. And he starts getting despondent again. He's like, it's always like this. Fate always catches up to me. He's like, Gyro, I'm sorry, I couldn't do anything. And that's when he notices that the little dino things and Sandman are starting to like sprout holes. And by the way, they show Tusk in the background here. Tusk definitely evolved. That's definitely not the same little baby. Like, he's just definitely, like, an evolved, like, we evolved like Echoes. So we have 2 references to Echoes. And then Araki loves Koichi. Like, he really does. He loves Koichi so much that he had to get, like, 2 references to Echoes up in here. With like, Sand evolving and the other Sand. So the bullets that miss and hit the tree behind Sandman start, like, there's no way to describe it. They start moving down the tree. And Johnny realizes that the bullet holes are chasing Sandman. So he starts firing off at the dinos, right? And he's like, the spin is alive within the bullet hole. So he tells Gyro, he's like, I get it now. The spin doesn't die even after the bullet becomes a hole, which is kind of, a few chapters ago, we saw that, like, even after the steel balls were blown up, like, the spin kept going. The spin is eternal, you guys. Like, the spin doesn't stop. He turns to Sandman, and he's like, lesson 4, pay your respects. And I'm just like, ah! Here we go. Here we freaking go. So Sandman starts explaining his actual name is Soundman. Like, Sandman is something that, like, you know, your people, like, you got my name wrong, and it's actually Soundman. And I'm like, oh, that actually makes a lot more sense. Soundman, because of his stand. So I don't know if he, like, always had a stand or what. But I'm guessing yes, because his name was Soundman. So he goes in to attack Johnny, and Johnny's got, like, 2 nails left. So Johnny starts firing at Sandman to try and create a hole underneath him, but Sandman dodges the hole, and Sandman's like, that hole's disappearing, and you've only got 1 shot left. Like, the bullets are only chasing for a few seconds. Like, he's like, you're done. So Johnny fires off 1 more time, and Sandman notices, like, he purposely missed. He was aiming at a butterfly behind Sandman. The butterfly lands on Sandman's back and, like, transfers the hole to Sandman. I don't know how else to explain it. So we see Johnny's got the perfect golden rectangle formed around his hands as he does this. And the hole starts moving from Sandman's back to his heart. But it disappears before it can get to his heart. And he's like, all right, well, there you go. It disappeared. I win. And Johnny's like, no, the winner of the fight is us. And it's Gyro's behind him, like, dead, but, you know, still there. Not dead, but dying. there's a steel ball carved out of the buckle. And Johnny's like, yeah, I made another steel ball while I still had some of my nails. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? So he tells Sandman to stand down, but Sandman's like, there's no way that ball is faster than my stand. And the ball just hits him right through the neck, racks him. Done. Blood. Yeah, he's done. And he's fading away, and he's like, all I care about is my sister. I just want her to be happy. He's like, my last prayer is for her. And it's really sad, because like at the end of the day, he did a really bad thing for a really good reason. And he just drops his sword, and that's it. So Johnny's checking on Gyro, and he's like down on the ground, and he thinks he sees Danny for a second, but I think it was like just a rock. But like Danny's just showing up everywhere. It's like I think Danny's like his spirit guide now or something. Like Danny's just, I don't know. So that's when Hot Pants shows up. Finally, right? So she's like, okay, they didn't take the corpse parts, did they? And she pulls out a bag, and it has the crest on it, the same crest that like all of Gyro's stuff did. So Johnny recognizes the crest, and that's when Hot Pants starts ripping the spine out of Johnny. And I'm just like, what the actual, like, what? So she's like, look, don't struggle. She's like, not trying to hurt him. Like, she's still our Hot Pants. Like, she's still our friend? I don't know. She's like taking the corpse parts from him. So she gets the spine and the arm, and we see her looking at them, and she like sheds a tear. And I'm like, what is happening? So she looks back, and she sees Johnny's leg twitch, and she's like, huh, so he can move his legs, or was that the first time? And she's like, well, I'm not going to steal your stand on top of everything. And I'm like, ma'am, you took the corpse parts. Like, isn't that why he has a stand? So I'm like, I started to read the next chapter, and it will be explained a little bit. But like at this point, I'm like, what are you even talking about? So before she did all this and seemingly betrayed them, I'm like, I don't know, like, you're our friend, like, she healed them all. She fixed all their wounds, even Norisuke, who's fine now. So yay! And Gyro's fine, and Johnny's fine. Finn! Yeah, I have zero clue what Hot Pants' motivation could be and all of that. I literally don't know. I best guess is she is also from Gyro's country, or is working for Gyro's country. When the letter got sent out, she went on the move. I don't know. But yeah, she's got their parts now, their corpse parts. So I hope she's not working for Valentine. I don't think I mean, the bag is a big giveaway. You know what I mean? The bag is a big giveaway that like she's working for Gyro's country. Is the country, I don't think their country will be working with the U.S. though. The only thing we have going for us here is that if she's working for them, at least the parts, I guess, won't end up with Valentine. I would be my guess. I literally don't know. I don't know anything. I started reading a little bit of the next chapter, and I couldn't get through it all, so I'm like, I'll just do these chapters here. But, yeah. So really, really great finale to this fight. You know, a few chapters back with the whole Ringo story, we had Gyro kind of like finding himself, and he had this really great epic showdown. This was Johnny's turn to do it. And I love the idea of like the golden spin. I love how it works. I love that he's evolved his stand now, seemingly. Tusk looks different. I was super sad that Sandman got taken out. And then he was a bad guy. But he wasn't. And that's, again, what I love so much about it is like everyone's kind of here for a reason. Some of the reasons are really good reasons. You know? Like wanting to save your sister and your tribe is a really good reason. Still wish he had not done the whole corpse part thing. He could have just really like say, okay, what's sad is that Sandman has been in the lead so many times, or like at least one of the top ones, that I'm like, you probably could have like won this race, gotten the money, now you're dead. And it makes me sad. I'm sad about the whole thing, but it was a great fight. Wonderful moment for Johnny. I'm so attached to Johnny now. This was the turning point for me. Like, I feel like in every part there's like a little turning point where I'm like, you know what? I like this guy or girl. Like, yeah. This is a real one right here. So yeah, the whole power is fantastic. So that was why he needed the buckle. He needed to make a steel ball out of it. So epic. Yeah, he did amazing in this whole fight. I love that Danny keeps showing up as like, just like his little, I'm reading so much into it, but I love what it represents, because like Danny this whole time has represented fate, trying to pretty much like make him pay and take away all his happiness. And here we see like, no, like it doesn't have to be that way, you know, like the world around you can help you too, you know. It's where you find this like golden rectangle and everything. So it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I don't know what's going on with Hot Pants. I like to think she's not really turned on them, especially if she has the crest. She's either from the same place as Gyro or she's working for them. I don't really know what to make of them and what they're gonna do with the corpse parts, but I have a feeling that like maybe they, like whatever they're gonna do, like I have a feeling they would just like make sure that they didn't fall into the wrong hands, you know. I don't think they're gonna take them and try to do whatever Valentine's gonna do with them. Like he clearly he's trying to get some kind of I don't know what, but he's trying to get some kind of power, and it can't be good. So I don't know, maybe we're just better off getting all the parts back to like the Vatican or whatever. I don't know. Like they have to go somewhere, right? Like at least they take good care of them. I don't know. But yeah, I at this point I was like, I don't understand like how he has a stand and everything. So like just put a pin in that, because it'll be, because I did read like the first like I think a couple pages of the next one and it'll be explained. So this was a really good badge, you guys. I loved it. Oh my god, it was a lot. We got backstory, we got a fight, we got a twist. We got like, I mean, they almost die like every single chapter now. Like there's always somebody like bleeding out, or like, you know, it was during the Ringo fight, it was Johnny that was like dying. And now it was Gyro that was dying. We got that amazing interlude with like the stands info and the art and everything. We got a huge power up for Johnny and just a lot more about the way that the balls work in general. Yeah, a really good batch. I'm kind of glad that I only did that. I just feel like it's a good, like, it was a good batch, like, because I think the next one is the start of a new story. So this one was just like, you got the whole, like, In a Silent Way story, which, by the way, great name. Do enlighten me on what it's a reference to, because I don't know. But yeah, I love Johnny now. I love him. Like, I liked him. He was solid. He was cool. Like, I didn't dislike him, but like, this was the moment. This batch, this was the moment where he became mine. And I wanted to adopt him. And just make it known to him every day that like, oh my god, he's loved. He's loved. He just needs to know that he's loved. Here's hoping for a happy ending for like everyone. That's all I want. So, all right, guys, I think that's about all I got for this badge. Again, kind of a smaller badge, but I think it worked out. I will try to come back next time with 45 through 50. But yeah, we're past the halfway point now. Are we? Yeah. No. Maybe. No, we're not. Because it's 95, but next time we'll be past the halfway point. So yeah, guys, I'm loving it. I hope you are too. I hope you enjoyed watching, listening along with me today. Oh, we got the cheese song too. Let's not forget that. We got the cheese song. All right, guys, till next time. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. I think next time we're gonna meet some other new. I don't know. But please look forward to it. So yes, guys, please be sure to join me next time. We will discuss it together. Bye for now, guys.